Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for All You Can Eat Chelsea. Big up your damn selves. Lateness is greatness on two parts, of course, as well, because I decided, just to throw this up publicly 30 minutes before it went out. I'm just testing who's got notifications on and who doesn't. Do you know what I'm saying? There's going to be bare people saying, oh, I missed it live. It wasn't woke, but big up to the chat. I see you, man. We're ready and alive and kicking today for another live show. We got a special guest. I'm going to kick him off. Another protege. And listen, now he's fully formed and he's out there after those wonderful comps that we were seeing on Twitter. Another Ms. Scouting masterclass. I've said it so many times. We've got our own little Luis Campos in the building. And Lyes, my guy, do you know what I'm saying?
Give me the technical director spot, bro. Come on.
Bro, Mbappe without the attitude problems. Talk to me, Lyes, bro. How you feeling? How you doing, bro?
That's probably the best intro I'll probably ever get. I can't lie. Thank you for having me on, guys. Listen, I don't even just say this because I'm on your show, but I've watched this show a lot in the past. Love what all three of you guys do. Miz, that's the OG right there. If you know, you know. But thank you for having me on, guys. I'm excited.
Listen, bro, it's a pleasure to have you on, guys. Of course, we had to get him on because we have Manchester United next. So this is almost the beginning of the Manchester United previews, but we're still obviously talking about yesterday's results, and they had a big result as well. And yeah, Miz, the cast and crew, big up, bro. How are you doing? How are you feeling after that? I mean, a little bit of a setback yesterday, but some positive signs as well. How you feeling?
Yeah, just that, a bit of 50 kumsa, as they like to say. Do you know what I mean? 50-50, I suppose. But no, I'm excited. Lyes is in the house. We go back a long time ago. I still remember Lyes I don't know if you guys have ever heard his starting line, the way he used to start his videos. If you don't mind, Lyes, should I say that? Should I say that?
Ahead,
this is for the old timers out there.
Go ahead, bro. Let's see who's really loyal in here, bro.
So Lyes, the way he used to start his video, he would say, "When this stupid American talks, you listen."
Hey, man. Remember where that originated from, bro? I remember I think it was after you guys had lost 3-1 to Arsenal. I think a week before I'd kind of come out at Lampard and I was saying, listen, all the steak that Ollie is getting, all the steak that Arteta is getting, the stove is the soup is burning at home. Make sure you pay attention at home. And mad Chelsea fans, Lampard, of course, being a club legend, they got defensive. But hey, I got mine back. What
I love, is you're a football fan. You and Cam's, you're football fans. You're Man United fans, but you're football fans, which is why you're perfect for this show as well, because I know you're going to talk from a more unbiased perspective as well, which is what is always needed. And Younes, bro, big up. How are you feeling, bro? I saw your review. I'm going to go straight out. I know you've seen the comments, bro. I've never seen your people switch up on you like that. I was
it's
like,
mad, isn't it? One time, the first time.
I'm not even.
What did they say, Matisse?
I'm not even introducing Younes normally, bro. I saw his review, as always, bro. I always check out my boys' reviews, yeah? And I went in there because I saw Miz talking about Kai as well. Bro, I went in that comment section. It was war.
Wow. Do you know what? I always watch Younes's video. I missed out. I watched yours, Matisse. Your one was pretty much to the T as what I said. I missed out on Younes. Did he say something totally different to us?
Very well. You just didn't give Pulisic that credit that they were looking for.
This is the thing. Yeah. And I feel like it was slightly misunderstood because I could have picked my words better. Firstly, hang on, before we get into that, Lyes, welcome to the show, man. And Miz scouting all sorts of talent since I don't know how many years now. Chelsea should hire you at this point. Just get you as chief scout. Keep plucking that talent out. But yeah, it's good to have you on, man. And with yesterday, I said that Pulisic came on and he looked energetic and he was everywhere. What I could have said better, because it made it sound like it was just crap when in reality he wasn't. But the end product was plain. And that's where I probably worded it wrong. I made it seem like he done nothing when in reality I did say he was quite energetic and he came on and he was moving. But I feel like we could have had a solution had Broja and Mount not came off in the first place. Although I reckon maybe Mount needed to save minutes because he's been playing relentlessly. But yeah, that was my point. And the comment section went in. which is due. I haven't had one like that in quite some time, so they're it's
Bro,
completely
even
normal. I'll take
KSI
it.
said
I'll take it.
Sometimes you need them to turn on you, man. Do
You
know
have
what I'm
to,
saying?
yeah. You have
Sometimes
to. You have
need
to.
it.
You have to.
needed.
And it's
Even
funny
me-
because you remember before the game, Miz was saying, "Oh yeah, no, when it comes to like Younes uploading, everything is class. The fans are hardcore. They're behind him." Immediately as the game ends, war.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw it statistically. Pulisic 3 key passes in half an hour, much more than Kai did. I know actually none of the front three in the end statistically came up with key passes, but Kai was notably very poor. Before I get, our perspective, obviously we watched the game. Lyes, I know May and I were playing, so I'm not expecting you to have watched it, and I wouldn't have blamed you if you saw it anyway, because it wasn't worth anybody else's time but ours. But just talk to me how you, from a rival perspective, have seen Kai Havertz last couple of years, what you expected from him when he came from Bayer Leverkusen, and I guess, do you feel like the form and the performances is down to him and his own attributes transitioning from the Bundesliga, or do you feel like it's a managerial thing, a system thing, a positional thing? What's been like your outside perspective?
Miz will know this, right? I was a Kai Havertz fan, especially when you guys signed him. I looked at a guy that, with that build, for a guy that tall, but that technical and also that lanky, I thought that there is a real player here if you can unlock him. But that's really the 2 words are what's important, unlocking him. And I say this as a United fan, right? We've had Pogba, we have Sancho now. We use that word sparingly, trust me. But with Havertz, it was always weird. I remember I came on Miz's channel, actually, and we did like a how Chelsea could line up under Thomas Tuchel. And for the most part, I actually got a lot of that stuff right. But the one that I couldn't figure out for the life of me was Kai Havertz. Because in my head, you almost have to build an entire system where he's at the forefront of it. Like everything is kind of working around him to boost his game up. But the problem with that is, to do that for a player, he has to be excellent, or he has to be hitting excellent output. And with Kai Havertz, you never really get that. And I only recently kind of sold my stocks in Kai Havertz, because eventually you're kind of believing in the idea rather than what's actually in front of you. And that's kind of where I sit with him. I think there is a player there for sure. I was at England, Germany recently, and I thought he was outstanding. Took his goals exceptionally well. But to be a Chelsea striker, right? Like, I've grown up on Drogba, I've grown up on Diego Costa, and he isn't a striker. Let's also keep that in mind. He isn't a number 9, but he isn't a number 8, like Frank Lampard tried using him at times. He's a bit of a false 9, but he's not a good enough of a false 9 to basically sacrifice your entire system to predicate his needs. And that's where I sit with him. I think Chelsea are kind of reluctant, to sell him just because of how much money you invested in him. And it's not even just the money you spent on him. It's almost like this was your golden boy that you were bringing in. Everyone wanted Kai Havertz that summer. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and Chelsea got him. And that was a massive coup at the time. Yeah. But I think with Havertz, it may be a question sooner rather than later that, especially Graham Potter now is here, he's going to have his own vision of how he wants Chelsea to play. He can't be sacrificing that for a player that to this point hasn't shown enough, bar a few big moments, most notably the Champions League final, that he should be a guy in this team match after match after match. And I didn't watch the game yesterday, but off my timeline, the stuff I was seeing on Kai Havertz, right? People are harsh on him as is. But from what I was reading, that was his worst performance of his Chelsea career so far. I don't know if you guys confirmed that.
It's
bad.
Bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. I mean, for me personally, I was fuming. I was really fuming after that first half, because it's not about, at this point, a lack of final ball, it's lack of finishing, lack of beating your man 1v1. It's not any of that now. Now it's just about being weak. And he didn't have the minerals. He didn't have the vitamins. He didn't have the capacity, the facility. He didn't have anything. And
didn't have the oxygen at that point.
Bro, it was mad. And listen, I was a big fan of him, and I'm still got a smidge of hope that he will turn it around. But he's not showing the same fight back that others show when they are in bad form, and they know they're in bad form, and they almost react to it. It's almost like he's in his own world, and he just doesn't know he's not playing well, and he's just continuing to just play in this nonchalant manner. I saw him kind of dive to win a penalty when he could have got on the end of a chance. I'm seeing him get pushed off the ball, bullied constantly, and he's not having a big enough impact, and he doesn't deserve to play. right now, and Pulisic more than deserves to start ahead of him. And you could even say ahead of Sterling as well. It's been a couple of weeks now. Both of them, we've been kind of waiting for them to get back to their best, and it hasn't happened. So I could understand why the very vocal US men's national team Twitter will be clamoring for Pulisic to start. I can understand it. I can hear it, because that's twice now he's featured, whether it be in the start and against Wolves or off the bench, and he's made a positive impact. And if he doesn't get a chance in the next couple of games, I personally think I would even give him a chance against Man United. I don't think you have anything to lose. Then you can understand people being annoyed by it. I mean, we're going to get into the positive performances as well, because there was some positives. But Miz, what did you make of Kai? Is it us almost? I mean, bro, I saw a statistic of 4 big chances created in 66 games. Tell me that ain't true, bro.
Apparently it is true, man, and that is mad. And there was another stat that was going around. And correct me if I'm wrong, Live Chat, you guys are always on top of these things. I saw something yesterday.
in the house.
Yeah, there's a lot of Snapman Daves in the house. Get statistical. I saw someone tweet. He's apparently got 14 Premier League goals, and that's equal with Jorginho. Please tell me that's not right.
Yeah. No, hang on.
Because that sounds insane to me.
But he was our top scorer a couple seasons ago, Jorginho.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, it was all penalties, wasn't
it? With 7 goals, I think he was the top scorer. Look, I mean, what do I have? I was so patient, Matisse, yesterday when I was doing the watch along. I was like, I'm not going to talk about Kai Havertz because everyone thinks lately I'm on him and this, that, the other. I'm like, I categorically said to everyone in the live, I will not talk down. I will not make any comment. Let him do what he wants. But it got to about, I think it was 65th minute or something. And there was a moment, Matisse, where he got the ball in our defensive third and he turned onto a barrage of press. And his body stance was so open, inviting the opposition to absolutely maul him and steal the ball away from him. I lost the plot. I was like, dude, you cannot do that in the final third of our half. Like, you can't be so naive, man. You can't have your stance so wide open and so inviting the opposition to take the ball off you and then creating a very dangerous situation for us to navigate through. It's not right. Like, you do all the mistakes that you've been doing up front, fine. Like, they're embarrassing. But to do that right in front of our goal, like, you see the way Ruben Loftus-Cheek shields the ball. The brother really puts his arms out, sticks his backside out. Like, there is no way you can get the ball. Mason Mount protects the ball. Kai Havertz, for me, please, brother, just protect the ball at bare minimum. Don't get dispossessed. My standards for this guy, and boys, you guys would remember when I was in UAE earlier this year for the Club World Cup. I even told you guys when I went there, the 2 matches that I saw, the one player that I was so impressed by, the way he was touching, the way he was gliding through the pitch, his demeanor, I was like, Kai Havertz, like, live, he looks like the real deal. As Lyes was saying, against England a couple of weeks ago in the international break,
yeah,
he was looking the part. Do you know what I mean? But this season, from preseason and also last season, let's be honest, most parts of it, there was a purple patch where he was good. I've given up on the basics. Forget about him shooting, technical shooting, his technical. I don't even worry about that. I'm just talking about, mate, can you just keep the ball? Can you just keep the ball? Because you get dispossessed too much. So when someone's level has been dropped to such a distinct below average state, what's the point, man? What am I doing here?
Do you know what it is? Because even last season when Lukaku was starting, remember, I was screaming out for Kai to come in. Because I was like, bro, Kai is a much better player for the link up. He's much better in terms of just overall chemistry of the rest of the players. But the excuses for him now are just getting silly. He's playing, one day he's playing on the right. Now he's played on the left of a forward front three. How is he ever meant to gel? It's not about chemistry if you're watching him. It's got nothing to do with that, because Pulisic's come on and he's shown already quality within half an hour. Carney's come on, shown quality within half an hour. Mason Mount stepped up. Aubameyang's scoring. Broja's scoring. Everybody in that attack has stepped up. So how can there still be more excuses for why Kai isn't stepping up? It's not possible. It's actually impossible how a whole manager can change. All the attackers can improve. It's still not there yet. We still have more things to improve, 100%. We need to play at a higher tempo. I thought at times the midfield were playing way too slowly when they were in possession. I thought the wing backs were pretty poor going forward as well. Loftus-Cheek could have been better. Cucurella could have been better. But at some point, you have to also take the game in your own hands and say, I'm going to be a top performer today. Kind of like what Mason has done, you know?
That's exactly
Even if the rest of the team's not playing well, Mason will say, I'm gonna make sure I have an impact. Kai needs to have that. You can't tell me that, oh, I'm only going to play well when everybody's playing absolutely perfectly, because that is the same criticisms that people have of many other players in other teams that we're meant to be better than. And we're meant to be the big dogs. We're meant to be Chelsea mentality. We're winning trophies. We're always trying to win. You're not going to win anything with players like this who are lukewarm, who are very inflexible, and if they move from one flank to the other, sometimes their whole performance will just look night and day. I mean, Younes, what did you make of it before we move on to other players?
Oh, look, it goes back to that point that you just mentioned towards the end there. There's two things I want to say. One is that, remember, we were criticizing both Kai and Mount at the same time for quite some time, weren't we? Because they were both just standout failures, right? You know, in this Chelsea team from the start of the season onwards. But as you said, Mason stepped up. You know, Mason has now come back to what we were expecting of him, and Kai has just remained the same. All the heat's come off Mason now because he's really pushed himself, and now he's playing as he should. Kai, it's not even. We can pick out some of the errors like we've done and whatnot, like yesterday and games prior, but there's times he just looks absent. He's not even checked into the game. He's just there, and sometimes he's not even involved. And then the few times that you do see him involved, he's too slow, or he's too weak, or he takes too much time. It's just,
and that's not about position, is it?
No, that's got nothing to do with position.
That's just about awareness and understanding your surroundings and not dilly-dallying on the ball. Like, as a footballer, you're meant to be able to pick up the ball on the football pitch and, you know, be able to handle the football and be aware.
Exactly.
That's whatever position you play.
Exactly. It's the basics. That's basics. Whether you are directly in the middle of a front three, or you're slightly shifted to the right-hand side of that box, or you're slightly shifted to the left-hand side of that box, or you're a tiny bit deeper, your ball control, the time that you take on the ball, your awareness shouldn't change. It's the same. These players, we got, you know, sometimes we go into like things like position and whatnot, and I understand if a player is completely dragged out of a position and put somewhere else, completely fair enough. But when we're talking about players at this level, this isn't, you know, all due respect, we're not Conference or League Two, and even then, right, the highest level, a player of that standard, whether he's playing in the center of a front three or the right-hand side or left-hand side of a front three, realistically shouldn't be that much of a difference. Yeah, your performance should still be quite decent. These are, you know, the creme de la creme sort of players. They're the best.
And by the way, when he came to Chelsea, everybody was screaming about how versatile he is.
There we are.
Played three positions at Bayer Leverkusen, right wing.
And now it's shifted. Now it's like no. He has one role, and if he's dragged out of that role, then there's no point playing him. Well, that wasn't what we got on the profile when we bought him. You know what I mean? Now, all of a sudden, we're trying to find out how he was used at Bayer Leverkusen or how he's used at Germany. And he's got to be... Thomas Tuchel brought it down all the way to a 9.5. Like, he is a 9.5. And if he's put out of that 9.5, he's ineffective. He has to be not next to the striker, not too far that way, he's a 10, but he has to be a little bit of in between, and he has to be a little bit to the side, and that is where his role is. If that is how he plays, we probably made a mistake signing him.
That's exactly what I said, man. First of all, I'm laughing, right? Because it sounds like what a lot of United fans said about Pogba for a long time. Yeah, can't play as a holding midfielder. He can't play as a number 10. He has to play a little more advanced to the left, 3 centimeters away from the wing. Yeah, I mean,
get the rulers out.
I'm saying, like, we're talking about luxury players at this point.
We're gonna need VAR on this position.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But we were talking about luxury players here, and luxury players aren't a bad thing, but luxury players are at their best when the rest of the team can kind of support them. Like the team is already set, and then he's kind of the cherry on top player. The thing with Havertz that I keep hearing the one word, and I think Matisse brought it up the most, is his intensity. He's very lethargic. He's very nonchalant. And the first time I ever saw Kai Havertz, the first comparison that came to my mind is he gives me Berbatov vibes because of his frame, because of how technical he was, and also because of how, whether you want to call it laziness, whether you want to call it nonchalant, whatever it is, he doesn't have that dog in him, right? He's very, very timid, it seems. And you guys are talking about he's controlling the ball, and immediately players are coming onto him. He's almost falling over. It's not that Kai Havertz can't drop the ball, but intensity is so important, especially at this top level. You have to be aware. You have to be on top of your game 100 times out of 100, as cliche as that sounds, right? Like, you can talk about technical ability and tactics, but these are the basics of football. These are the fundamentals. And I think with Havertz, that's always been my issue for him, because even whatever you want to say, I never understood the Mason Mount critics at Chelsea. I always thought that it went too far. But even at his worst period, you got a feel of intensity from Mason Mount. You get a feel of intensity from Christian Pulisic. With Havertz, it's almost like he goes through the motions. And I'm very hesitant to say that because Martial plays for my club, and I feel like he has a similar demeanor to him. And I never want to call Martial lazy, because I don't think he is. I think it's just his demeanor. Yeah. But when you're not playing well already, that stands out. And that's, for me, the thing with Havertz. Can he continue doing that at Chelsea, especially in the form he's in? I think eventually Graham Potter will go with other options.
I think he's at his best when defenders have given him a little rattle. I remember that Tottenham game at home. Whenever he's slightly pissed off and somebody annoys him or triggers him, and there's a little bit of a battle going on, there's a rivalry, he steps up. It's why he stepped up in some of the big games, in the high pressure moments when most players would collapse and most players would lose composure. He seems like he's ice cold because he's charged. But I think in games where, funnily enough, people just leave him alone, just to let him get on with it, he kind of just shrivels up and almost.
So it's he, Matisse.
Evaporates. It has to be, bro, because it's like we do see Kai with intensity, don't we? Off the ball, sometimes Kai is one of the most hardworking players off the ball, and when he's hardworking and he's on it, then he wins the ball back, and then on the ball he's quicker and he makes quicker decisions, and his movement is a lot faster. We've seen Kai have very good games, but it's too inconsistent, and the intensity, like you're saying as well, is too inconsistent as well. I think for him, and to kind of finalize on the point, is that I'm not seeing him kind of like as one of those free roam players like a Hazard who just seems to love being on the ball, and he just loves it. Like he's just you know, those players that are just, they're luxury players, but they just want the ball all the time. They just give me the ball. I want touches.
These are match winners, bro. That's the difference. I wouldn't call Hazard a luxury player. This is a player that wins you games, and that's the thing, that you can afford to be, I don't know, lethargic off the ball or so and so. But when you get the ball, what are you doing for me? What's your influence on a game? That's why for me, a guy like Hazard, okay, he walks 50% of the game, but when he gets it, he changes it. Havertz hasn't done that for you nearly enough, especially for the price tag. Yeah, no, 100%.
Probably helps. It probably helps answer that question on the screen. If you want to read it out, go on.
Yeah, it says how does Havertz play good for Germany but not for Chelsea?
Yeah, I feel like it explains that, because when you play for your country, you can't not step up. You can't just, chill and take it easy and think, oh yeah, no, today's all right. Like, this is your country. You want to be able to keep your place playing for your country, especially in the lead up to a World Cup. There's things on the line. For Chelsea, where it might feel like there's not really much on the line at the moment, it's so early in the season, it's probably maybe where Kai Havertz just takes it easy, Do
you know what, Younes? This is an interesting point. It makes me think, and it is what Matisse touched on as well. There seems to be a player there. Like, on his day, there seems to be a player there.
Bro, we can't all be blind, bro. I know I'm like actually factually blind, but we can't all be blind, bro.
I've seen it as well. Like, I've seen it live as well, right? As I said, when I was in UAE. So is it a case where, as Younes was mentioning, like for Germany, the nation, you're fighting for your nation. Do you know what I mean? The automatic motivation kicks in. Yep. How do we get this brother to feel that energy, to feel that motivation when it's for Chelsea? Or is it never going to happen? Or does he have to go to Bayern Munich to feel that motivation, that German club, that German flavor again, the German crowd? Is it ever going to happen for Chelsea? Because for me, from what we've talked, it seems like it's he. It's like he can't switch on every game. If it's Spurs and the defenders rattle him, he's on. But if it's Wolves and the defenders are not very Wolf-like, then I'm okay. Do you know what I mean? Then I'm all right. I'll just struggle around. Like, can we ever get him to switch on?
I don't know, bro, but I really hope he does, because I really want him to make it. I really want him to make it. You know, he was one of the attackers. I've said it all the time that I was like, yeah, that one, out of him, Ziyech and Werner, that's the one I'm putting my stocks in. I'm going ballistic for this signing. I see it. At Bayer Leverkusen, he was creating chances. Even when he didn't want to be there anymore, he was still pinging balls around the pitch, walking nonchalantly against Rangers, but showing quality. He was looking like a younger Berbatov in a way. Just needed to get the finishing and just obviously get the elite level attributes. But he was one of those players on Football Manager that you give him 15s for everything. And you say, do you know what? If we can get a couple 16s, 17s, this is going to be mad. I remember I used to load up Football Manager and Ballack, he just was good at everything. Yeah. There was no low numbers. There was no 8s, no 10s. Everything was a minimum 13. Strength, pace, application, whatever, finishing, heading, dribbling, corners, everything was just good. And I was like, yeah, this guy, I don't see any alarming weakness. And even, I can't even say that like he hasn't gone gym, because I saw a picture he posted GQ, I don't know what it was, bro, he has muscles, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Do you know what I'm saying? So, bro, I'm starting to get angry now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to have to start, I don't know, man. Because if I lose this one, it's looking mad for me. I can't lie. Do you know what I mean? We've lost enough of these attacking battles. That transfer window is starting to look nuts.
I said that, right? I said the same thing. People keep coming back to me. Oh, they won the Champions League. You won the Champions League, right? But I'm looking at that window, and Bar, Thiago Silva, I can't say any of them are overwhelming successes.
Oh, bro, it's nuts. But anyway, let's move on to positives. A player that people have said you look much like Kepa. Lyes. Yeah, have they not said that? Have they not said to you? Mate, I don't know. Maybe is it Kepa? No, who have they said that you look like? Maybe it's someone else actually.
Ferran Torres is the one I got.
Ferran Torres is
that's true.
Yeah. It's somebody else.
I recently got an Ajax kit too, and everyone was saying Ziyech as well. But Ferran Torres is the one I get all the time.
Yeah,
that was a new one.
Yeah.
But Ferran Torres and you, something like if you put the picture, people will be like, "Who is actually Ferran Torres?"
Bro,
and we can send you to Barca, infiltrate them, and start causing some havoc.
Every time he scores, my mentions are just overflowed with these Barca fans. I knew it was real, right? When I was out and about, right, with my friends, and some random guy came up to me. And this was when Torres was at City. He comes up to me like, "You look like the forward from Manchester City." I've never met this guy in my life. I was like, okay, now it's not just a Twitter gimmick anymore. This is actually haunting my day-to-day activity.
Bro, but yeah, man. Do you know what? I don't know why I thought Kepa. I'm thinking of someone else. I know there's definitely a Kepa stan out there. One of my mates on Twitter. But bro,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think I can't remember the name now, but
Svo Genius. I think Svo Genius.
Oh, okay, yeah. But speaking, I mean, Kepa man of the match again for me. Trevoh was probably right up there as well, because he cleaned up after Koulibaly a couple times. We're going to get into that, and then we'll get into Man United. What I mean, Lyes, bro, did you see this coming for Kepa? Because this was statistically probably the worst goalkeeper in Europe under Lampard. Actually, not probably. He was having a Claudio Bravo, as we say. You know, I remember Claudio Bravo's first season at Man City. This brother wasn't a hologram, and there's been probably a couple other examples. What have you made of this guy? Because I know you worried about this guy for the weekend as we transition a little bit. Are you worried about his form? Because you guys haven't been. Your goals haven't been coming really, apart from Bruno, obviously, the other day. It's not like your forwards are mad prolific. Anthony's probably the guy that scares me the most from range.
Wow.
But in terms of everybody else, you know, there's not a consistent goal flow coming from them. Are you worried about Kepa's form at the moment?
Yeah, it definitely concerns me a bit, for sure. I mean, this is a guy, I thought he was dead in the water, man. I truly believe so. You talk about I think I agree. He was the biggest liability in Europe. And obviously, everyone remembers that final that he refused to come off for. But I just remember that season in particular. It felt like anytime someone shot from further than 20 yards out, there was a pretty damn good chance that it was going in the goal. Like, this guy was making any random shot look like a screamer. And obviously, Edouard Mendy came into the team. That first season, he was impeccable, arguably the best goalkeeper in Europe on form that year. started last season off incredibly well. And then since AFCON, I don't know, maybe you think it was a little earlier, but the time I really started noticing it from a neutral point of view, post AFCON, this guy came back and it was just a shadow of his former self.
I agree.
And he's come into this season and it's kind of been much of the same. And in comes Graham Potter is the one who kind of reinstated Kepa back, right? Or was Tuchel already starting to do that?
No, it was Graham Potter.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Mendy was injured for a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I understand it. Like, I wasn't completely shocked because for as good as Mendy was, even at his best, with the ball at his feet, he was a bit De Gea-esque, to be honest with you, pulling out wonder saves. This guy, you can be relied upon saving shots, but with the ball at his feet, which, let's face it, in the modern game, the goalkeeper is the first line of attack. You build out attacks from him. That's never been Mendy's strength. Let's be real here. And Kepa, for all his flaws, is a very good ball player, 100%. And I mean, the game against, who was it this weekend? Was it Villa?
Yeah.
No, it was Villa, right? That's
triple save.
That looked like a 72 million pound goalkeeper for the first time in 3-4 years. That finally looked like the guy you spent 72 million pounds from Athletic Bilbao to buy. So yeah, it concerns me a bit. But look, I mean, I don't know how much of the game you guys caught yesterday. Rashford went 1-on-1 like maybe 2 or 3 times, and poor finish.
Thierry Henry grilled him for that.
Oh
yeah, I heard that.
Rightfully so, but Lloris as well was just like outstanding. It could have been 4 or 5-0. So yeah, and the form that our attackers are in, it's not great, and it doesn't encourage me when I see Kepa looking like, I don't even know, prime Casillas.
Yeah, man, he's playing out of his skin, man. Some of the saves he's making is just, it's unheard of, really, from him. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's in the best form of his Chelsea career. I know he had some moments under Sarri, penalty shootouts and whatnot, and he was actually all right under Tuchel. He's pretty good when he was called upon under Tuchel, really. But this is another level. I mean, Miz, for you, we're not going to see Mendy for a while, are we? And Trevoh as well. I mean, what did you make of him? He considering the circumstances and what we was expecting, Toney's probably one of the most informed strikers in the league. You know, he got 2 goals last weekend against Brighton on the Friday. For me, he's a shoo-in. He should be a shoo-in for the England squad. And if it wasn't for Hairline, I think he'd be getting a lot more attention. Was you impressed with Trevoh as well? Because Trevor's taken a lot of heat as well. Kepa's taken heat. Trevor's definitely taken heat as well. Yeah.
I'll get to Trevoh. I think there's a fantastic story there as well. But Kepa, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know about you guys. Like me, I suppose, being in that age at the moment, closer to 40, I suppose, 3 years away from being 40. Like, for me, that is motivational, that type of a character, because he was a goner. Like, he was finished. Do you know what I mean? Like, Kepa was done.
Yeah.
And for him to come back from that level to win back his spot at Chelsea Football Club as the #1 goalkeeper now and getting the... If that isn't motivation and if that's not an inspiration...
In a few games too. It didn't take
in a few games too. And do you know what, Younes, the other thing is, for the other boys, not once did he complain throughout that process.
Yeah.
Not a single article. No one bad-mouthed him about anything. No interviews. In fact, you will actually see footage of him in the bench doing managerial stuff. He's telling the players, do this, do that. He'll call them over. He'll give instructions. And he's still doing that in-game.
Well, he was a manager, wasn't he, at one point?
Yeah, I knew he was going to do that. I knew it. I knew Younes was going to do that.
He was a manager. Look, I tweeted the other day, in life, it's not about how long you've been patient. It's about how you've been patient, the attitude that you've shown during that time. And I think this is where Kepa gets a lot of plaudits, and long may it continue. Look, his shot-stopping abilities have definitely improved, and obviously that is one of the biggest talking points. But I want to more focus on his distribution, like his ability to just so easily relieve the pressure when we're pressed, and switch the passes around, and even more so as a sweeper keeper, boys. Like, our defense is able to step up, which making the opposition to be more, I suppose, suffocated.
Yeah, it's more compact, isn't it?
More compact. And Kepa allows for that, because Kepa probably instructs them, go, because if anything goes behind you, I'll come out and I'll sweep that. Do you know what I mean? And there was a moment yesterday, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a long ball and Kepa chested it.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that in my review, man.
I was in my watch and go, oh my God, this guy at 0-0. That was the highlight for me. Do you know what I mean? He just chested the ball and then he just went on and then distributed that. Look, Kepa, fantastic carry on. And I think Graham Potter likes him as well, likes that level of goalkeeper who can play out from the back, as Lyes was saying. Goalkeepers are the first point of attack. That's where you start things off. Now, if your goalkeeper is incapable of doing that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Much like what Man United faced earlier on against, I believe, Brentford. Brentford gave you guys a hard time.
Jesus Christ.
Now talking about Trevoh Chalobah, look, I'm not going to take too much time. I've always said Chalobah was a fantastic defender, and I didn't understand all the rumors about him leaving, this, that, the other. I just hope for Trevoh Chalobah's sake, he nails down the spot, and when Fofana is ready to come back, that he's not an immediate starter. I just want this brother to finally get his plaudits and finally get his respect that he is a Chelsea level defender. Do you know what I mean? Now, look, that doesn't mean that, Trevoh Chalobah doesn't make mistakes. He makes mistakes as well, but he's very astute. Like the way he looked after Koulibaly yesterday, and mind you, Koulibaly is the more experienced defender. Do you know what I mean?
It's meant to be the other way around.
Yeah, it's meant to be the other. Look, there was one particular moment where Chalobah made a mistake and Koulibaly helped out, but it was more Chalobah looking after Koulibaly. Yeah. So I hope Chalobah can cement a position, and then everyone around him can start thinking, well, should I stick around at Chelsea or should I leave? Because that brother has cemented his position. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I just hope he gets to that spot.
Yeah, I think the context is always looking good for him, for Armando Broja, for guys that were in their first Chelsea season. It's always important to analyze and bring that into the analysis. And I was saying that last season when he was making some errors in the middle part of the season. He's in his first season, guys. You have to remember that. This is his first season at Chelsea. Same goes for Armando. I think was showing great signs as well. Carney comes on. And that's why I have mixed emotions before we get into United, because it was good cameos for the young players. I mean, Armando only just turned 21, I think last month, Younes. And Carney was a positive impact when he came on as well. It was good to see him get minutes. Yeah. Trevoh was good. So it's like there was promising signs there, wasn't there? It was some good young players in a very tough game. I knew in my preview, I know you said it as well. We knew this was going to be tough, man. I even went down to the G-Tech Community Stadium for my preview just to get a smell of it, a whiff, because I knew it was going to be tough. I was like, let me just take in the atmosphere and the surroundings. I went there in person because I just knew.
You went all the way to Brentford, bro.
Bro, it wasn't far though. Don't worry, bro. I live
here.
Anyway.
I live here, but I wouldn't.
Bro. It's one of them. No one comes here if they're not nearby.
I was gonna say, damn, you're committed to the content, bro. Because
it's a nice little area. I can't lie. The stadium's a little bit like you've seen it, obviously. Like the stadium, it's a weird one. The stadium's like very bland. It feels like something out of FIFA Ultimate Team. It doesn't feel very unique.
Bro, it feels like one of those generic FIFA stadiums. Remember back in the day when FIFA didn't have the rights to all the stadiums? They just
That's exactly what it looks like.
Bro, stadium, bro.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Stadium too.
The Younes, man. Kepa, Trevoh, anybody you want to give special mentions to the young players before we get into some of the super chats.
No, big up Brentford. Brentford's a weird place as well, by the way, because I think the only thing Brentford was known before they reached the Premier League was Corrupt FM, and that's basically it. People just do nothing. And for us, look, I think Kepa's been outstanding, and testament to everything that you guys have already said. I don't have much to add on. Just the fact that his attitude's been unreal. He knew he dropped into a number 2, got on with it. Many other keepers at that fee and at that age would probably be like, yo, I got to go. I've got a career to think about. He saw it in the long run and it's paid off and he's taken his chance. And there's one thing I want to say, because I see a lot of people bringing up the thing about the goalkeeper coach, right? And how Hilario's not there anymore. And Potter brought a goalkeeper coach with him from Brighton who's done well. I don't just think it's down to that, though, because the impact has been so short. A coach can't just switch someone on in 5 minutes. You know, that's gonna be a process. Kepa has literally just switched on in 5 minutes. So I think it's more down to him personally. Although the coach is obviously doing good things, and let's see what he can do with Mendy, because now Mendy needs some fixing. So testament to Kepa, I think he's been class. With Chalobah, I don't think it's a coincidence now, and I think I'm glad to see that he's getting plaudits. But we all know the stat. We've not lost the game when Chalobah's played. When he started, we've not lost. And I think it's into, I'm not sure the exact number. I think it's the late 20s or the early 30s now in terms of the amount of games that we've not lost when Chalobah has been as featured.
Wow.
Yeah.
That many.
We're undefeated with Chalobah.
Yeah.
And obviously there's 10 other players there, but that's credit to Chalobah as well. And I think with time, he's starting to show his maturity, and he's starting to show what he can do. And yesterday was an example where he looked the more significant defender compared with Koulibaly. That's Koulibaly. You know, we all knew Brentford was going to be hard, not going to be easy going there, especially with this FIFA-esque stadium where it's all like low and it's all small and it's all in your face. It can play on the mind. Chalobah, who's young and he's getting there, I feel like has an opportunity now with Fofana out to really try and cement his place, and hopefully he does. And the young lads, one guy that I saw get a little bit of criticism, but I think he deserves plaudits for yesterday, was Broja.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Man, look, he showed one thing yesterday.
People were saying he cost us the game, bro. I was like,
no.
He cost us the game. Like, he's young. You have to expect that he's not going to be able to see everything around him, and that's what you expect from a 21-year-old striker. But he was present.
But the things that he brought, this is why I wanted him to stay on. And I understand where Potter maybe is like, okay, look, we need a goal, bring on Aubameyang, bring on Sterling, maybe, you know, it'll get us ticking. But Pulisic as well. But with Broja, his impact, you see his speed. Yeah. The way he was darting past Brentford defenders, like giving them a head start. Literally, there was one occasion I remember he hit the ball forward. Yeah, Ben Mee. Yeah. And Ben Mee's got a head start, and you can see like Broja's like, yeah, go on, I'll give you 3 seconds, and then he still catches him, gets past him, doesn't go down because he could have stayed down, even though that was a slip. But it looked like a foul. It wasn't a foul when you look at the replay. But he could have played it. He didn't. He got up and went for the ball immediately. That's the attitude. He has those attributes, and as a striker, we've kind of been screaming for that, haven't we? We've been screaming for some speed and some intensity and some technicality. Some of the ways that he's able to try and, in a tight space, get past a defender or try and shimmy a defender on his shoulder. It's nice to see one of our strikers finally doing that again. I feel like if he gets enough game time, he's going to have impact. And the games that he has played, he's had impact. And when you look at Kai Havertz, for example, we go back to Kai. It's night and day. It's night and day, man. Carney coming on. Very, very good cameo. It's a shame his last opportunity that he had, he could have squared it to Sterling. And I think that would have been 1-0, if I'm honest, even though Sterling's finishing was poor. But I think that would have been 1-0 game, set, and match. But can't cut into him too deep. He's young and he's just starting. So, no, really, really positive. For the young lads, very positive.
100%. I'm going to go through some super chats, these ones here, before we get to Man United next. Felix says, Broja showed in one start, Havertz isn't good enough. We can't afford a Berbatov who can't score. We need a striker like Jesus with the dog in him. I do miss that dog, man. Do you know what I'm saying? I do miss that aggression, that drive, that will to win. Like, you know, if you don't perform, like your family's on the line. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I need that. Do you know what I mean? Bro, I need you to play like as if somebody's got your family hostage if you don't score. That's what it is. It's that deep, because this top 4 race is coming down to small margins, and these are the small margins. This is why I'm a little bit up and down about it, because I think the point isn't disgraceful at all, but I do think we could have won the game. I think it was there for the taking. Even after spending high, why only one Reece is good enough to play for Real Madrid? City from Chelsea need more quality. I
get what you're saying. There's only, after spending that much that we've spent, it seems there's only one that's actually good enough in our team that can play for Madrid or City, and that's Reece James. We need more quality.
I hear that. I hear it, bro. That's why all these technical sporting co-directors are coming in it. I've never seen so many people coming into one kind of role in my life.
And we miss Reece James. Just to say, we do.
Bro, it was meant to be one job. It's like 8 people.
Man said 8 people for one role.
Do you know you remember when everyone was like, "Yo, Tuchel, yeah, you can do this, man"? No, Jesus, bro. Do you know how many people Bowie's hiring for this job? I told you this was not a manager's job, people. This ain't Tuchel's job, man. Look at how many people is trying to do this job now. It's nuts. Credit goes to the new goalkeeper coach and Kepa's girlfriend. I'm more willing to give Kepa's girlfriend more credit, and should I say fiance?
Yep.
Man, she's holding it down, man. Do you know what I mean? We need to protect that couple at all costs. Press says, thank you, Trev. Elite. I rate him over Wesley. Kai needs to be sold too high level to be this poor. Listen, we'll see what happens. I think he'll get the season. But if big money came in, I wouldn't reject it, man, because I'm just here for the intensity to be a lot higher, more consistently. And I think that's how we got to judge players, not even from the league they're coming from. I just think from the way that they manipulate and move the ball, and the way that they kind of handle having the ball and just moving at a higher intensity. And then if they have the quality while they move at a higher intensity, then that's a decent sign that they might actually attack it in the Prem. But Lyes, bro, talk to us about your performance yesterday. Because even though you guys haven't been winning all your games, you've had moments, even against Man City, where you scored a great goal, Anthony, great team goal. There has been shades and signs of Ten Hag football, but then obviously there's been some bumps along the way. So what's your confidence levels coming into this game on Saturday, and how did you think yesterday went?
Listen, yesterday I said it at halftime. I said this is the most dominant performance under Erik Ten Hag that we've had this season. It was utter dominance. And I saw a lot of people in my replies, and this is really the ultimate question that everyone comes out of this game with. How much of it is an Erik Ten Hag masterclass, and how much of it is Antonio Conte and his teams are designed and predicated to sit back, absorb pressure, and they want to be penned in so that they can hit you on the break. And it just didn't work out for him yesterday. That's really the question that's on everyone's minds. And I actually think it's the former, right? Because yes, although Conte's teams, again, like I say, they like to sit back, absorb pressure. They're not too fussed about dominating games. They also like to have that out ball. They like to hit you on the break. They create chances. Don't get it twisted. And yesterday, Spurs didn't create anything. Man United, forget about the way they controlled the game. The way they pressed the life out of Spurs is something that we saw for 45 minutes in Ralf Rangnick's first game. We never saw under Oli. We never saw under Jose. And we never saw under Van Gaal. And listen, if anyone knows me, I was big on Ten Hag. I was very, very big on him. This is, for me, the first time United has ever gotten an appointment right post-Fergie. It's the right guy. It's the right guy at the right time. No matter what you think of Jose or Van Gaal, it wasn't the right time to hire them. With Ten Hag, I firmly believe that it is. And I've been someone that's very consistent in saying that you need to get this guy his players. You need to give this guy time, patience, and eventually the results will come, because this guy is a damn good manager. And yesterday, I think, was the clearest yet that he knows what he's doing, right? Casemiro, there was so much doubt about him. So much doubt for no reason, in my opinion, as well. But a masterclass from him. Even about Eriksen, who's been so key to Man United this year. They controlled the game with ease. The one question for me really is the forward line. Is there enough consistency? Is there enough goals in there? Especially with Rashford leading the line, who actually had a good game yesterday, but even for his good game, missed 2 or 3 sitters. And you talk about margins, Matisse, in a top 4 race that's going to go down to the wire, between what looks like you, us, and potentially even Liverpool, that's going to hurt us in the long run. But the way we're controlling games, the way we're playing football, Miz remembers that I wasn't high on Oli whatsoever. Even in the season that we came second, I never believed that the football was sustainable.
It's hard to be high on Oli unless you're actually high, to be honest.
and listen, this is why you got me on, right? Because I was consistent with it. Even when we won, even when we had that away run, where I think to this day it's still the record for most away wins in a row, I still never believed in it. I still didn't believe that it was sustainable enough. With this guy, right? I truly believe that you believe in this guy's project and you back him with the players that he wants, because you also think about the players he's brought in this year. Anthony, Lisandro Martinez, Malacia, Casemiro, all 4... Eriksen as well.
Eriksen,
all 5 of them have been successful signings. How many times in the past 10 years since Fergie retired can you say that United have made successful signings at all? All 5 of these guys are working in the system, and that for me just proves that you get this guy his players. Don't suss him out in the market, and I think the results will come. And I think that eventually silverware will come as well. So you asked me, am I looking forward to this weekend? Am I confident? Yeah, I am.
I don't like that. I don't like that. You guys have a pretty good record against us. We haven't beaten you at home since 2017, apparently.
Yeah,
Morata. Yeah.
I was saying that on stream of Hajj yesterday, right? I remember under Fergie, that was our bogey ground, Stamford Bridge. We could never win there, whether it was Scolari, whether it was what's his name? The Grant, whether it was Jose, whether it was Ancelotti, we could never win at Stamford Bridge, even when we were winning titles. But post Fergie, we kind of made that our playground, man. Mourinho had a good record. LVG had a good record. Ollie had a great record. So let's hope it continues this Saturday, man. Let's hope.
Let's not. You're on all you could eat Chelsea now, bro.
Hey,
let's
bro.
hope not. Let's hope not. Let's hope
I
not.
forgot to say, this is my territory.
From Perth down under, he says we need Rice or Bellingham. Big up, bro. We got another Australian in the house. Got 2 Algerians, bro. We're just linking up everybody today, bringing everybody together. You know what I'm saying? Nothing was funnier than before we get to United. Back to United, Lyes on the TL after Algeria. I'm disappointed in him, bro. Everybody goes back to that moment. And Younes wasn't so vocal. I think he just kind of maybe died inside quietly.
Younes, do you know what happened on my end?
What?
Do you know what happened on my end? So for me, right, I was told at halftime by this Algerian fan, and even the commentators were saying it. The commentators on BN, they have blood on their hands because they fooled me. They said that after extra time, away goals basically were out of the picture. After full time, after 90 minutes, away goals were out of the picture. A bit like the Carabao Cup. So when Cameroon scored their second, I thought it was going to penalties.
Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's tweets.
I was already on the floor crying.
Bro, that's why I was saying, get up. We saw penalties. Why are you upset? And then my phone died. And that tweet basically.
No.
Minutes, I turned it back on. I was raging with the bits. And bro, I there's a picture on my timeline too. I was staring at my TV for about an hour and a half, just like shocked. Right? That's probably my worst moment on Twitter ever. I was convinced
everybody talks about it. Literally, everybody talks about it.
It's
my
actually
God.
insane.
And also, go on, Younes.
I know. I think that was the darkest moment as a football fan.
I think so for me too, bro.
Hands down. I've never experienced anything like that. You go from, we've done it, to it's taken away from you in 10 seconds. It's unbelievable.
After 36 games. Oh my God, that's the worst moment.
Oh no, but don't worry. Justice is coming. Brazil are gonna thump Cameroon 6-0 in the World Cup. I'm gonna laugh.
That's what you have this bias against Cameroon for no reason. People keep asking what you have against them. Sure, it's a great nation, but hey, y'all gotta hold that, man.
It's before we get back to this, what you're describing feels very much like the Barcelona at home game, and I know you did a big YouTube video on that where we were like, we're gonna win. 10 seconds later, Essien gives it away, who had a great game, scored a goal. Iniesta pops it in the top corner, and you're just sitting there like, what the actual hell has just taken place before my eyes? It was, I'm telling you, it was worse than the John Terry miss in Moscow. Because when he stepped up, I said, you know what? This was meant to be Drogba. This was meant to be Drogba, but he got sent off. Yeah. So I already had a feeling that he's not a penalty taker. So I'm just going to whatever happens. I was actually more annoyed that Anelka missed because he's a striker and he missed and then it was over. Van der Sar. But that Iniesta goal, when we should have had about 3 penalties.
4.
Wow. 4. I can't tell you the level of rage. I woke up my mum, who was in bed sleeping. Bro, I went into school the next day. I got detention. I was gripsing up United fans who were trying to talk to me. Luckily, there was no Barca fans, but I was gripsing up anybody who even tried to even chat shit to me that day. I was ready to fight. I didn't give a shit.
You know what was crazy, Matisse? Normally, when we play Barca, like, you know, there are a few games where I can remember where we dominated, but that was one where we actually played so well against them.
We were great.
We were so good against them.
We cooked them.
We did. And then the referee was like, nope. Nope.
Penalty, no. That was Iniesta's shot. Iniesta's goal was their only shot on target that game.
And it was the final shot of the game. But
you know what? That and the transfer window just gone is the reason why they are potentially going back-to-back Europa Leagues. It's why they lost to Real Madrid. It's why they have to hold that. And I'm going to keep smoking them until they learn some manners. Do you know what I'm saying? And some grace and decorum. Because these lot are they've lost their class. I'm not going to lie, but let's not get into that.
It's karma. It's karma. Or it's calma.
It is calma. CFC Stan says, hopefully watching Casemiro and Eriksen shows our fans what real centre mids look like, not Jovetic. Kovacic and Jorginho are taking a lot of heat. Jorginho could sign a new contract. I don't know what you make of that. Lyes, what do you make?
You know what I think about Jorginho already.
Bro, there was a moment where I actually disliked Lyes for being so rude against Jorginho. I actually was going to send him a DM and say, Lyes, stop the Jorginho BS that you're going around saying. Do you know what I mean?
Here's the thing, Miz. It was never about Jorginho. It was about Benzema, because I thought it was an outrage that last year Jorginho finished above Benzema in the Ballon d'Or. I actually think Jorginho, maybe not this year, I haven't watched too much of him this season, but there's a point where I was saying United needs a DM like Jorginho. I think he's underrated.
You liked him. I remember you liked him.
Yeah, no, I still do. But, bro, to finish above Benzema on a Ballon d'Or, and this year justice was served. I don't know if you saw that guy, I think his name is Hani, bro, the Marseille and Algeria guy, who was breaking his TV last year because of Jorginho, and this year he was
Man, do you know what? Yeah, Jorginho is so polarizing. I've had Gab Marcotti come on here and wax lyrical about him and say, I don't get the agenda. I've had Pat Nevin come on here, wax lyrical. And then I've had people who do know their football, like even Joe Tweedy, really respect his opinion, but they don't like him that much in terms of how, they don't rate him with the quality that he possesses, and they don't rate him for the traits that he lacks. Mike on Twitter, I don't mind saying his name. My God, I've never seen anybody hate one player so much. My God, it's relentless.
At the same time, it's because there's such a huge fan base for him as well too on Twitter, bro. I remember when I was making those like tweets and stuff like that, I was getting heavy criticism from us. I'm trying to think 29 years. There's a few huge Jorginho fans on Twitter, bro, that take. I mean, I was tweeting about Pirlo a lot this week, and I was getting Chelsea fans comparing him to Jorginho. I was like, this is why he gets so much criticism, because I feel like naturally you guys just take it way too far. There's a good player there for sure, but there was
a moment in yesterday's game where and it was right at the beginning, I think him and Aspie got skinned down the left, and I'm watching Jorginho keep up with the left winger at the time, and he's looking at him like, I ain't gonna catch him. So he just starts running centrally, and the guy just keeps running down the left and getting ready to cross. And I'm like, with all due respect, I don't want you to get a new contract. I'm ready to see a new midfield. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the lack of mobility is killing me right now. I can't lie. Like, much respect, much love. Same with Kante. Much respect, much love. You man have, obviously to different levels, have done incredible service at Chelsea. But I said it last season on Twitter when they cooked the shit out of me.
You've been consistent with it. I was going to say,
bro, I was getting abused left, right, and center because it's both the stands, both of the groups coming into one tweet and just obliterating me. How can you be so disrespectful? He did this, he did that. What do you mean? Didn't you see the interview on the Chelsea YouTube channel with his mom? Bro, I said respectfully, it's time to move on, because we're not winning a Premier League title with them declining as individuals. Both of them are in decline. We're not winning the league with them in decline.
Different reasons, but both are.
So I was gonna say, Matisse, I'm experiencing this right now with Ronaldo. I was gonna say that's a perfect segue.
Talk about Ronaldo,
actually,
bro. I told you to. I told you to. He don't like the bench. I told you, Miz.
I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this.
Lyes, back me up here, bro. Lyes, on this very show, I said to these guys when they wanted Ronaldo, I said he's not gonna hold that bench.
I'm still a fanboy.
He was never gonna hold the bench if he was with us. Man was gonna be starting.
Exactly. We'd be top of the table. We'd be challenging for the title.
People keep challenging for the title. Hey, brother, let me tell you this. People love talking about Ronaldo's professionalism. And throughout his career, he has been an incredible professional towards his body. He keeps his body in the best shape probably of any athlete ever. So in that regard, he's very professional. But Ronaldo has never been professional about even coming out of a game his team is winning 4-0 and being substituted with 5 minutes left in the game. He still throws tantrums over that. So for a guy to be on the bench as consistently as he's been right now, I think we're getting a virus in the dressing room at this point. Matisse, I don't know how much you've seen my tweets the last year, but I've been a guy that over the summer, I was willing to let Ronaldo go. And even for as long as I've been supporting United, I don't have the natural infatuation of Cristiano Ronaldo that a lot of United fans do, even as good as he was his first stint here, because I never believed that Cristiano Ronaldo actually loves Man United like that. I'll be very clear with that. I think he loves Fergie. I think he loves Fergie. That's the reason why he's back at the club.
That's a good point, Lyes. I don't think he actually ever loved Man United. I think he loved Real Madrid probably a lot more.
He never came back to watch Man United one single time, and all the time he was gone. And he went back to Real Madrid the very first season he was at Juventus to go watch a game. That's not just even say that. He was on the precipice of joining Manchester City until Sir Alex gave him that last minute call. So there's never. Here's another one. His first stint at United, he literally came out and said, "I'm being treated like a slave at this club because they wouldn't sell him to Real Madrid." So for me, I've never had the infatuation with Cristiano Ronaldo. You ask who my GOAT is for Man United, it's Rooney. That's my United GOAT right there. Even as many times he put in transfer requests, he always had the club's best interests at heart. Anyways, with Cristiano Ronaldo, I kind of bring that up just to say, you gotta put the bias, you gotta put the nostalgia, you gotta put the feelings to the side here and say what's best for the team. And just like you said about Jorginho and Kante, naturally these two are declining. Naturally, these two aren't getting any younger, and you have to kind of move away from them, even for as good as they've been in the past. I kind of stand the same way with Cristiano Ronaldo. And what he did yesterday, right? We talk about Cam Matisse. Cam is a big Ronaldo fan, even though he's not someone that thinks Ronaldo should play just for the sake of it. He's a big Ronaldo fan.
Listen, big up Cams. I was only clocking he was a big United fan. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. Bro,
he's who you should have on this channel, by the way.
With Harry Fanero and all these men in the Jeep talking about redeem team. I said, what? I said many a time when this team on their lowest, I didn't even see you recognize. You know, I ain't nothing to do with me. I'm not involved. I'm not involved, bro. That's got nothing to do with me. That's not my team.
Even yesterday, right, coming out of the game, he texted me. He's like, "Bro, this guy has to leave. Like, what is unacceptable." So even the biggest Ronaldo fans are looking at the situation and saying, "It's United versus Ronaldo at this point. Where do my allegiances lie?"
Yeah,
bro.
But do you know what? Do you know what's tough to have these? This is why you have to have these discussions here, because I used to, and Ms. Younes will know, I used to defend Jorginho to the hills. I used to defend him to the hills. I said he's disrespected. People don't understand his game, etc., etc. Kante as well. Believe it or not, when he was in his prime and he was playing and he was worth the wage he was on, I was like, yo, this is one of the best midfielders in the world. That Liverpool performance in the Super Cup, the Champions League run, the guy was untouchable. Untouchable. And when big up Rants as well, when you compared him to Fred, I was speechless. But there comes a time where you have to be able to be like, you know what? This is the past and this is the present and this is what the future needs to be. And to get overly emotional about it, there's no point, because football moves on. I've watched many a player leave this club and more going to leave. And I'm still going to be here and I'm not scared about it, because I've lost Lampard. We've lost Terry. We've lost Drogba. We've lost Hazard. The football club continues. It doesn't evaporate. It doesn't liquidate. It doesn't go into administration. It probably will if we don't stop handing out these massive wages. But that's besides the point. Do you know what I mean? We will survive. People say, oh, I can't imagine what the midfield looks like without Kante. Well,
they said the same thing about Lampard, Essien, and Ballack. Look where you guys are.
Bro, the midfield, we will find more midfielders. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. When I put that tweet out, I said, I was asking people, if you put Tchouaméni and Bruno Guimaraes, or Tchouaméni and somebody else, I can't remember, maybe Basuma, but he hasn't had a great start, to be fair. If you told people back then you could add Tchouaméni and Bruno Guimaraes in a midfield pivot when they were both at Monaco and Lyon instead of Jorginho and Kante, but you were planning for the future, people would be like, it's ridiculous. You can't do that. This is UEFA midfielder of the year. You can't do that. But now look at those two. Bruno Guimaraes is the leading midfielder in the league in terms of statistics right now. Leading central midfielder. He's unbelievable. Tchouaméni is lighting it up at Real Madrid. Real Madrid have shown world football how you almost stop thinking about the past and you build for the future. They are already future-proofed. And if they go and get Bellingham...
Don't say that too loudly, mate. A Super League might kick off tomorrow.
Bro, this is what happens when you leave sentiment at the door.
Oh, you're right.
And you just move on.
And you're the kings of that.
100%. They're the kings of it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's just so frustrating, because we're not gonna get anywhere by persisting with players that are injury prone and in decline, and then expecting to make improvements. It's frustrating. And I think Ronaldo is the same. And it's why I didn't want him, is the fact that he's not on an upward trajectory. People speak about he was top scorer last season. I watched him. He missed 3-4 months where he did nothing. He was invisible during the middle of the season, and then he stat padded towards the end. And I'm not against stat padding. I would love a stat padder, but there's context to the goals that he scores, because if you're not spreading it out throughout the season, you need to look at the time where he wasn't involved and when he was missing. And that was a large part. And I'm not saying it's all his fault, because Man United was shit. But for me personally, that's not the player that for me takes you to the next level. That's the player where you bring him in and everything becomes about him, and then you finish lower in the table. You're like, how did that happen? We scored more goals, or Ronaldo scored top scorer, or how did we finish lower? because everybody else just disappeared. So I don't know. I thought what he did yesterday was so unprofessional, and it was very selfish because you had a great performance. You guys were unbelievable, and then suddenly now the questions after the game are about him. And
Bro,
you're 37. Like, why? How? You're not 21. How's that
I
happening?
think it's pretty clear as to maybe why, where the incentive's coming from is because we all know he wants out. Like he wants to force a way through where he can just
Younes,
go.
There are no suitors out there, bro. Like that's what I keep saying. Like I was someone who I agree with you completely. Ronaldo at this stage in his career deserves the respect that he should be allowed to go look for a new club and spend the last years of his career playing consistently. I completely agree with that. But it's not a coincidence that there's not a single reputable journalist out there, whether it's Romano, whether it's Ornstein, whether it's Julien Laurent. You could not find a journalist who would look at a club and say they want Cristiano Ronaldo, bar that club in Saudi Arabia. It's not.
What about Roy Keane? Remember what he said?
Roy Keane or Cristiano Romano? Who's going to trust more? Come on, bro. Literally, like the only person that wanted him was Todd Bowles, and that was overruled by Thomas Tuchel. And I actually think that's the final parting gift that Thomas Tuchel gave Chelsea, avoiding Cristiano Ronaldo. Because I think at this stage in his career, he does not benefit your team. He will score his goals, but at what cost? And I think, look, going forward, that's like Chelsea made the right move by avoiding him.
Well, just want to say Tuchel's not here now. Do you think January, Miz?
We just still think him.
I don't think it's happening anymore because one of the key reasons was that he was going to get to play Champions League with us, and I think because he's already played Europa. Look, let me give you my 2 cents about this whole situation. First of all, 100% agree the fact that what he did. That because as I said to you boys offline, like I actually watched the match after the Chelsea game, the United game, and United played really, really well. And probably you guys are right as well. Conte's Spurs were a little bit toothless, just sat back. But for that performance and then for Ronaldo to just walk out like that, bad. I don't know. Like I think Younes will agree with me here. I grew up watching Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know he plays for Man United, but it kind of annoys me the fact that, and I completely get it. I get it that why he's not playing. I completely understand what Lyes is saying. I get why at the moment others are starting ahead of him, but it annoys me that name, CR7, sitting there. Like Younes will know. Like I don't know how old Matisse and Lyes were. Like I was literally going through my late teen, early university days, and then growing up where that was all Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean? Man United, Real Madrid, especially. This guy was Mr. Champions League. Like there were moments.
He's unbelievable. He's one of the best footballers we've ever seen.
Ever.
Simple as that. There was a point where I was like, do you know what? I'm not even interested in who the GOAT is because I just love the two players that much. But exactly. that Ronaldo and this Ronaldo is not the same. I kept saying it to people. Like they're two different Ronaldos.
It's not, but it's still just from a pure fan's point of view. Like I'm not talking about from a Chelsea fan's point of view or from a I'm just talking about from a simple footballing point. It's so annoying for me to see that he's benched and he's sitting there. A name of that caliber should be participating in the Champions League, and the headlines should be Messi, Ronaldo, this, that, and now Ronaldo's in Europa, right? I'm just, and this is what I want to ask Lyes. Like, and I know Lyes said that there was no suitors out there, but why wasn't Man United pressuring more to just get rid of this guy? Like, find a deal somewhere. I think Atletico Madrid denied him as well. Why not even Sporting? Sporting are doing all right. Like, why didn't he want to go back? He would have got Champions League. They're in a very good group. Surely there would have been someone in Europe. Do you know what I mean?
It's not like you're asking why didn't he want to go? It's those clubs that didn't want him. Like Atletico Madrid's fans literally put up a whole banner saying, "Keep this guy away from our club." I think Sporting Lisbon's coach threatened to quit if
really?
Ronaldo. Yeah, because you gotta be realistic here, Miz. I completely agree with you, and like the sentiment hurts. Like no matter what I just said about Ronaldo, right? Like this is still a club legend. This is still one of the greatest players, not just of all time, but of United's history. It's not nice to see this is how it ended up. I remember when he first came to the club, I was gassed, right? For whatever I'm saying now, I would still make that move 100 times out of 100 to stop him from going to City. 100 times out of 100. And that debut gassed me beyond belief. But from a purely footballing point of view, this guy is not desirable for top clubs anymore. Like there was so much talk about how he wanted to play at a Champions League level club this summer. I'm watching this guy in the Europa League against Omonia, against who's the other team? What is it? Sheriff.
Yeah.
Big up, Sheriff.
He is not. Yeah, big him up. Fair enough. But they did last season. But he's no longer not even a Champions League level footballer. He's struggling to make an impact at a Europa League level. So why now should a club like Sporting Lisbon basically derail their entire title contending season just for the sake of bringing back a club legend? You have to look at it from a footballing point of view, and it just doesn't make any sense. That's the way I see it.
But by the way, sorry, Younes, go on, bro.
No, I was just going to say, it's a shame in that case, like, you get players that reach a certain age. Zlatan, for example, he's still able to find somewhere to play. Ronaldo can't find somewhere to play. Like, it's outrageous when you think about it. It's nuts.
Younes,
like, is the only solution to just retire. Say again?
No, I was going to say that's not the only solution. Zlatan at Milan has that club because he's willing to, he's accepted the role of a veteran to basically be someone who's more of a mentor to the likes of Rafael Leao. Someone who's willing to back up Olivier Giroud. He's completely accepted his role. He understands that at this point in his career, he could have been balling out in MLS, or he could have retired, or he could do what he's doing at Milan now. That's truthfully what Ronaldo has to accept at this point in his career. And that's fine if he doesn't want to, absolutely. But then he can't be upset that Ten Hag is not going to sacrifice his Man United team and his Man United vision, his principles, just for the name of Ronaldo. That's really the reality here.
Yeah.
If he wants to sit back and take that mentorship role, absolutely. The clubs will take him. But
with less wages as well, if he can maybe.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Thoughts on Sel, Kante, Ziyech, Kai, Pulisic, J5, Dave, Bayern, Cuckoo, Liao, Rice, Bellingham, Reese. I mean, listen, I ain't gonna do the FIFA thing. Do you know what I'm saying? The FIFA career mode thing. I'll save that for when I actually play FIFA career mode. I've got my own plans there, but we'll see. I don't expect all of those guys to go, in the next couple windows. I'm sure one of them will at least be here, or maybe two. But you're based on the way people are playing, you're on the right path. Do you know what I mean? In terms of people that are under pressure, for sure. Before we wrap up, I just want to get Lyes' thoughts on who we should be looking out for from Manchester United's team right now. I see Bruno Fernandes is in good form. Eriksen, like you said, is a big part of what you're doing. If you could say to Chelsea fans, you need to be wary of this guy and you need to be watching out for him on Saturday, who would you say?
I was immediately inclined to say an attacker because those are usually the guys that win you games. But I'm going to go on record here because I haven't said this on any other platform. I think Man United's best player is Lisandro Martinez. I absolutely think so. I think he's dependable. I think he's completely changed us in build-up, right? Like Casemiro has never been known to be a guy who is a first-phase dictator. He's not controlling games from deep. But Lisandro Martinez is literally Man United's entire build-up. He's an excellent defender. There's a reason why we haven't heard Jamie Carragher come out with the nonsense about this guy's height, because it doesn't matter. He isn't getting here. He knows how to adapt his body and still win those aerial duels, even being 5'9", which even that might be an exaggeration. I can't lie. He might be a little shorter than that. But he's a dog. I think he's United's best player. I think he controls their build-up from deep. Outside of that, listen, Rashford loves a game against the Big Six. He loves a game against you guys as well. And I think something that's really been good to see this season is his resurgence, because it looked like last year he was dead in the water. It really looked like his career trajectory was going straight down. And to see him kind of back with a smile on his face, back being energetic, back being positive, and back in the goals, I think that's got to be it for Chelsea. But it's going to be a really good game. I mean, you guys are defensively strong still, even though it's not Thomas Tuchel levels. You guys are still a great team. And I actually think if you ask me what the result of this game is going to be, I think it'll be a draw.
6 clean sheets in a row, yeah. I mean,
I didn't say clean sheet, but it'll be a draw.
The defense could be a nil, man.
I think Kepa's conceding. If Kepa concedes, then I'm gonna be fuming.
What's your confidence levels going in? Do you think we can bag a win? I think for my sanity, with the record we have against Man United, I need a win, man. I can't lie.
Look, this is why it was so important to get that victory against Brentford and move into this game with a bit of momentum. That disappointment, and as you said, Matisse, there were chances of winning that game against Brentford. So now I'm going into this Man United game and I'm like, and watching that Man United match as well. And let's be honest, I don't want to just use recency bias. Like Man United, they've been a bit iffy here and there as well, but you can see the progress. I know you look at the Man City game, they got absolutely dismantled, but I'm worried when we play Man City, so I can't really say much about that particular performance. But look, if we tactically have a good plan, and I'm hoping Graham Potter gets this absolutely right, then maybe we can get something. But Elias is right, man. It's probably got a draw written all over it, doesn't it? Like, my worries are that we are probably going to have a lot more of the ball being at home, and Man United probably want that anyway. They don't want to see too much of the ball maybe away from home, and they want to be able to counter with the pace that they have up front. But if it can be defensively solid and negate all of those situations, do we have a goal in us? That's the issue. Can we break them up? Like, yes, we can start with, I don't know, Aubameyang, Sterling, but even Sterling has been a bit shady in the last few games. That's the thing. Can we actually put away our chances? I thought Lyes would say one of the players, and I understand he said Lisandro Martinez and obviously Rashford, but one that really caught my eye in recent times, I don't know if Lyes agrees with this, from the matches that I've seen, is Diego Dalot. Like, Dalot's presence on that right side, the way he has been bombing up and linking up with the attack, that is going to be something interesting for our left side. Whether it's Chilwell obviously completely rested against Brentford, so maybe to some capacity, maybe he plays. Is he ready for that type of explosive pace from Diego Dalot if he makes that run? That's going to be interesting. Cucurella on the other side, defensively very solid, but offensively lately he's looked just not good at all. So Diego Dalot for me is one to probably look out for.
100%. YB1 says, if we don't let Anthony cut in on his left, we'll be safe. Anthony COS also says Anthony is who I thought Ziyech would be at Chelsea. It's early days, but yeah, that's Mrs. Boy. I ain't even involved.
We're gonna wrap me under the bus like that.
I told you about Ziyech, by the way. I told you that guy was a Fugazi.
Oh, bro, I can't, bro. I can't. I'm not enjoying this, bro.
Miz has been hurt a lot, man. I've been hurt a lot. Miz has been hurt a lot, man. He's been hurt a lot. Just, I don't know. Was you excited about Lukaku as well? Like I was. I think he was, isn't it?
I was.
You definitely,
we were shades on.
I remember Miz with Habibi though. I remember how much he liked Ziyech, but nah, man.
I still love him. It's just not worked out for Chelsea.
I don't think he's gonna be staying for sure. It looks like he's not involved. Guys, we're gonna wrap up. Smash up the likes, man. Really helps. Apparently, when I was reading the backstage, I know Lyes will know about it as well with the business side of YouTube. Apparently, if you smash up the likes, it does actually help. Not even telling a lie.
It does.
The new thumbnails coming as well for that one person who was ready to chop my head off. It's coming. All right, I promise you. So that will help as well according to the analytics. And yeah, big up, man. Appreciate the support as always. Make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already seen it, do you know what I mean? FIFA's gone live now on career mode on YouTube, and it was mad. The Cucurella goal. I'm going to post it on Instagram. The Cucurella goal was ridiculous last episode. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the other side of the coin. I'm doing the outros for these guys because I need to make sure you, man, go and actually get it done. 20K is what we're chasing. Do you know what I'm saying? On the other side of the coin. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Do you know what I mean? Miz is absolutely killing it. Double uploads most of the time, do you know what I mean? And that ain't easy, trust me. I'm trying myself and it ain't easy. So make sure you go and subscribe, guys. The link is in the description as always. Younes talks football. Do you know what I'm saying? Go over there and defend him against his own people because it's long.
No. The best way to handle them is just give them 24 hours. The video later on, they'll be no more again. That's fine.
Do you know what I mean? Younes is killing it, man. You already know. You guys already subscribed. Do you know what I mean? But if you're not, then God help you. I don't know what you're on. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's a couple people in here that are sleeping. Make sure you go and get it done. And make sure you go and subscribe to FTBL. They're killing it, man. Lyes is dropping a video every day to the World Cup. I'm seeing it. Do you know what I mean? He's dropping a video every day.
Not Algeria, but you know.
They got stoppage time over there as well every Sunday going live. You know that show is absolutely unbelievable. I've been watching that show from when them man were just looking like they had like the school set up with the desk and everything. it was mad. And yeah, man, there's more content dropping on there. Cams is smashing it as well. So guys, make sure you subscribe there. Go and get it all done. Quality channels, serious content is dropping. And for me, hopefully a double upload today, a combined 11 with Rants, probably where I need to defend Mason Mount against Bruno, even though I know Bruno dropped a good performance yesterday. So we'll see how I work that combined 11. Big up, guys. In a bit, people. Peace. Come on.